thing still going?
No, I turned it off so it can. Yeah, that battery's low.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. We are back. So if you are just now tuning in, you are definitely listening to Sador Radio. So we are here right now talking with Mr. Jimmy Dennis, right? From the Death Row to the studio. There you go. Got him. So from Death Row to the studio, he has been convicted 25 years, an innocent man in jail, right? And we are having a conversation with him today to see what his emotion was like, how he was feeling, how he got out of that, right? What he's doing now. So my beautiful ladies of the Sador Radio are here. They're interviewing him. They're asking questions, right? So let's get right back into it, you guys.
Okay. What I want you to do is for the audience that are listening and also watching us on social media, they may not know what your crime is. Could you tell them what you was accused of and you were railroaded and innocent? Talk about that.
So the case happened in 1991 at the Fern Rock Station. 3 individuals brutally killed a young lady by the name of Shadell Ray Williams for a pair of gold earrings. Right? And that was what I was accused of doing. Yeah.
Okay. One of our viewers, who's also a host on Sador,
Yeah.
he says, don't forget that they had your face on the news as a killer. Did you know anything about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. You know?
Yeah. That's what he had.
Right.
So you.
And I can't remember anything, but it don't surprise me. Yeah.
Right. So the other question I have for you is, I want to take you from the courtroom to the actual words that you heard, death row. Take us there.
So after I was convicted, the judge basically tells you you're gonna die by lethal injection at Rockview Prison. They say that to you, and then they lead you out of the courtroom, and then shortly thereafter, you're taking the death row. They come get you around like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, ship you to Greater Ford Prison, and then you put on death row. And then you got to go through processing. So it's either going to be Greater Ford or Camp Hill.
Okay.
Right? And so I wound up going to Greater Ford and then Camp Hill. So it's a shock to your system. You there. And it's just it's kind of hard to describe what exactly death row is. But the best way I could put it to you is death row, being on death row is like somebody having a gun held to your head every single day and playing Russian roulette.
Okay.
That's what it's like, right? Death constantly hangs over your head, right? You know you're there. Every single person know they're there. And there's nothing easy about being in solitary confinement.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
You were in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. Were you let out for that 1 hour a day for shower or recreation?
Yeah, you go. So when I first got there, to Camp Hill, and Greater Ford, you got to understand this and put this in the proper perspective. You don't go to yard unless you get up at 5:59 in the morning to stand on the door to go to yard, because that's when they coming around, right? Okay, you don't go to yard unless you on the door, because they're gonna take a list, so you may miss it. And it was 23-1, but then it went to 22-2, right? And it's not a real yard. It's basically when you go to the shower, imagine the 60s and the 70s, the phone booths, right? Your shower is smaller than that. So you could barely turn around within the shower, and you get a 10-minute shower, right? If you're lucky, depending on what guards you got working. It's going to be an argument, soap on, soap off, right? This is Camp Hill, this is Greater Ford, so on and so forth. So every single inch of the way, I and other guys that I knew had to fight for the privileges to have a 15-minute shower, a 15-minute phone call, and things like that. So we had to fight to get 22 and 2, which is 2 hours a yard, 2 hours a library, right? They don't even want you to digest your food properly, which is the nastiest food on earth. I wouldn't feed it to my dog. I have a dog. I would never feed my dog the stuff that I was subjected to in prison, right? So, yeah, it's 22 and 2. Yeah.
So I'm a little ignorant to death row and certain aspects of it. However, there has been, maybe not in the state of Pennsylvania, but there have been some that have been convicted and they were to die by lethal injection. And that process went immediate and quickly. So my question is your appeals what kept you alive that long, because you were on death row for 25 years?
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's an appeal process, and it's actually not the guy that's in prison taking all the time. It's the system actually taking this time out of your life. The narrative in the public's eye is that prisoners have all these appeals, it takes years, they want to be sitting there all that time. Not true. Not me. I was trying to get back home to my family and my friends and start my music career. That's what I wanted to do. But I go to the state Supreme Court, you up there for 7 years, right? What? You're just waiting for a decision. And it goes on and on and on down the line. It's the court system that is taking this valuable time out of people's lives. It's the DA on the other side asking for continuance after continuance, delay after delay. They're not ready, right? You go back and you look at all the documents in this case, you will see my lawyers and I, we're filing everything on time. The delays is coming from them. It's games. They're taking time out of your life, right? And they know it and they don't care.
And in your case, I presume that they took their sweet time because they knew you were innocent.
Exactly.
Looking at the document, they knew that you were innocent.
Right.
So to prolong that, I guess, was just to continue the breaking down process.
Right.
Did you ever reach out to Mandel,
Mandel.
your lawyer,
Lee Mandel?
that was the one that was assigned to your case initially?
Mm.
That, well, I guess your public defender or something?
No,
like that?
I never
Who's
had.
Who's
Yeah.
Mandel?
Okay. Lee Mandel was not a public defender.
Okay,
I paid $17,000 for him.
for Mandel.
Yeah, for Lee Mandel.
Okay,
I've never had a public defender in my life.
okay.
Let's be clear. That's
Okay.
important to note, right? Okay,
Mhm.
that's important to note. Because
Now-
look what you had me in prison for, and I never had a public defender in my life. Think about that.
Exactly.
$17,000 is what I
So-
paid for Lee Mandel.
And being that there were tons of evidence that came across his desk that he could have used to truly show that you were innocent. Did you ever get a chance to ask him why did he not use that evidence that was coming across him? It's not like he didn't know, but why didn't he use it the way that he could have to truly be able to get you off?
Let me steer you in the right direction, right? Because a lot of times, articles, right, can be
Mhm.
misleading.
Okay,
All right. So everything y'all read, we gotta start right there, right?
okay,
So there are tons of documents that Lee Mandel never had. Lee Mandel shares no onus on anything that happened to Jimmy Dennis at all. The onus is on the district attorney's office of Philadelphia, Roger King, and these 2 and 3 police officers. That's where the onus at.
Okay.
They hid evidence, right, that proved my innocence, right? They destroyed evidence that proved my innocence, right? Okay? And it wouldn't matter what attorney I had. I could have had Johnny Cochran, and I was still going to death row for something I didn't do. That's how bad it was in that courtroom, right? It was an episode of Law and Order that was sick and twisted, with a DA putting on theatrics. He would come in, he would lie to the jury, right, about something, right, that had to do with me. And then the very next day, not in front of the jury, he would correct it to the judge. Okay? That's the kind of stuff that I dealt with. The police officers got on the witness stand and lied about every single thing. This is why I am sitting here before y'all now, right? So the onus is on them. And all of this comes from what? The Rizzo era. All this comes from these corrupt police officers, this corrupt district attorney, right? And you could go right on your phone right now and you Google, right, Lex Street murder case and who the DA was, you'll see Roger King. Then you'll see, right, that after the truth came out about their innocence, this same district attorney, right, who did the same thing to me, right, still went to trial with those 4 young men. And you know what happened? The truth came out. Now those 4 young men are at home, right? And the city had to make a settlement with those 4 young men. Okay? Go back and look at the Philadelphia Daily News. Go back and look at the Philadelphia Inquirer. This all is a fact. So the onus is on these evil people over here, not on some lawyer who was outmanned by people doing wrongdoing and they had documents. You have to understand, they had legal documents proving my innocence hidden for over 12 to 15 years. And it took my lawyers from Washington, D.C. to find these legal documents, right? That's where we at.
Well, thank you for definitely clarifying that,
Right.
because that is in the Rolling Stones article.
Yeah,
It
don't pay
says
no
that.
attention. Don't pay no attention to
But
that.
our listeners, please understand, everything that you read is not necessarily true. But it's
That's
on
why
the
he's
internet.
here.
Thank you so much
Only
for
thing-
clarifying that.
You know, the Rolling Stone is a watered down version of what actually happened to me in my life. It's a watered down version. If you want to hear something raw and something true, you go to the Wrongful Conviction TV episode with Jason Flum, that's on now this, and look at that. And that tells more of the truth about what happened to me and how I was wrongly convicted than, you know, a watered down version of, you know, trying to let people off the hook for wrongdoing, period. I said it and I meant it.
I have a question that's coming actually from Facebook, and they would like to know, has the city or anybody ever apologized to you, or have you been compensated, or has anybody tried to correct this?
Well, some things we can't talk about.
Okay.
So we're not, right? Far as apology, there's, I wouldn't say apology, but if you read the Rolling Stone article, there's basically the district attorney's office now acknowledged what's been done to me in the Rolling Stone article. You hear them say that what happened to me was wrong, right? I've met them. I was honored. I think it was 2 years ago when I first came home at an Innocence Project event, and people walked up to me from that office and acknowledged what was done to me, and we had a meaningful dialogue, and that's enough for me. I don't expect people that done me wrong to apologizing to me for anything. I'm not looking for it. I'm not holding my breath. You know, I'm moving on with my life. I'm advocating for other innocent people. I'm trying to help get other innocent people out of prison. I've lent my voices to help other innocent people get out of prison. I'm gonna continue to do so.
What was the first thing you said to your mom and your daughters when you got out?
Yeah. Basically, I that I love them, you know, and that everything's gonna be all right now. It's the same thing that I called my little brother, and I told him when we spoke, when I arrived at the hotel. Me and Mark had a phone conversation. I told him everything gonna be different now. Everything that was stolen from us, I'm going to get back.
I wanted to know, how did your oldest daughter handle your conviction? How old was she at the time?
She was 3.5.
Mhm.
My youngest daughter was born 1 week after I was stolen away.
Mhm.
And for my oldest daughter, there was moments when she would be in school and she would break down and cry saying, I want my daddy, I want my daddy.
Mhm.
And she took it very hard, and she still does. There's the residue that they left on my family, the wreckage that they done to my daughters. You can't fix that,
No.
right?
Get it back.
You can't get it. You can't get the time back. What they did to my daughters and my mom and my family, it's unfixable. It's broken, right?
Mhm.
You took a dad that was permanently in their life, taking care of them, and you removed me. I could not. I tried with everything in me. And there are things that's going to come out later on in some subsequent projects. When you see what I was doing, trying to be the best parent from a death row cell that I could be, no matter what I did, it's just not enough. You can't be a parent from death row. I got 15-minute phone call. And within that 15-minute phone call, I got a sick mother and I got 2 daughters. How do you balance that time?
Right.
You can't, to be a parent and deal with issues. It doesn't matter that I wrote letters every day to them. It doesn't matter. They grew up without me. And even now, they still suffer. So it was very difficult for my oldest daughter, you know.
Have you found a way to reconnect with them with this great loss of time?
We definitely reconnected, and we definitely are constantly in the process of just being a family and trying to move forward in life, you know. But so much time has passed, you know, that is very difficult. I'm a grandfather now. I got some, you know,
Welcome to the grandparents club.
right? They done gave me some grandchildren, and they're all beautiful. And so it's like when you see the world through your grandchildren's eyes or your children's eyes, you know the world is a beautiful place. So my thing is, we just all trying to just make the best out of a horrible situation and just try to get through it with love.
I did have this question to ask you because, like you said, it was difficult parenting from death row. I have to ask this question. At times, you probably felt like giving up. What kept you focused and pushing forward?
That, you know, when you're on death row, there's no way that I can tell you this. Anybody in prison that says they never had moments of weakness, that's a lie. You're gonna have moments of weakness. How you get through it is with faith and belief and prayer. And for me, what kept me going was the fact that I knew I had to give back to my mother and daughters. and my dad, which I tragically lost my dad, but my thing was I had to get back to them. So whenever I had those moments, I just fought through it, you know what I mean? And I had this list of songs, right, that literally played in my mind every single day, because I didn't have, you know, good radio stations up there, and, you know, the reception to even get a good radio station is just like crazy, right? So I had these songs play in my mind. It was the Winans, Trusting God. It was Christopher Cross, Selling. Then it went to Bruce Springsteen, Glory Days, Stevie Wonder, If It's Magic, Whitney Houston, Why Does It Hurt So Bad, Fleetwood Mac, Don't Stop. And these songs played in my mind every day. And it was the John Coltrane, Dear Lord, after Trusting God, excuse me. And if you listen to these songs in this proper order, you'll see how I got through and what I was going through, right? Those songs tell the story, right? And periodically throughout the day, I would hear other songs, Something Inside So Strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong, right? And I would focus and I would go about my day doing what I had to do, and that was work on law, work on the Justice for Jimmy campaign, and let people know the truth about what happened to me. And that was my focus, to get back to my family, and that's exactly what I did.
I'm gonna say this, you are an extraordinary person.
Thank you.
Because
Yeah.
you have done extraordinary things.
I appreciate that.
I wanna ask you a question. Why white? I know it's your favorite color. but why
It's
white?
not. Actually, white isn't my favorite color. Blue is my favorite color.
Okay.
Right? But the white thing is, white represents innocence. And so whenever I'm speaking, or doing interviews, I wear all white.
I know this.
Right. Whenever I'm advocating for other innocent people, I have everybody wear white. When I was advocating for a man that just came home that was innocent by the name of Willie Vesey, we showed up in all white because he was innocent. And we wanted to let the world know that this was our statement for Mr. Willie Vesey. And the judge took notice of these things, you know what I mean? What the heck, you know? No, but, you know, the media took notice of these things, because whenever there's an innocent person, you know, anywhere in this country that I'm advocating for, that's how I'm showing up. And that's how I want everybody else to show up, because we want to bring that person home, because injustice has been done, right? So that's why we wear all white. And,
Okay. I was mistaken. I thought it meant pure, and I was like, oh, okay.
It's pure, but it's about, you know, innocence.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
You know what I mean?
My next question is, let's fast forward, when you were released and it was somewhat a reality to you that you were coming home, what was the first song you listened to?
In the van, the first song, I don't remember accurately. They got film of it, so I don't want to say the wrong thing. But I don't remember exactly what it was. Honestly, don't remember what the first song was. But what I can tell you is every musician that I love was played on the way home. So you had Sade, you had Whitney Houston, you had the Winans playing, you had all these artists that I love, you know, playing, you know, as we were going home. Because if you would have received a letter from me in prison, as Mark, you know, can attest to, you know, there'd be a song at the end of the letter that either fit what we were talking about or a song that I liked. This would be in my legal letters to my lawyers, my family, friends, my supporters. Even when I wrote organizations, you know, I would put a song at the end of the letter, like John Coltrane, Dear Lord, you know, so on and so forth. So I can tell you that when we got close to Philadelphia, before we crossed that Mason-Dixie line into Philadelphia, I had to have Patti LaBelle playing. I had to have Jill Scott, Boyz II Men, Meek Mills, to get me back in that state of Philadelphia mind, you know.
Okay.
And that was important to me. We had Freeway playing, you know, and I had to get in that Philadelphia mindset. And I know at some point, it was very funny. They turned on Elton John, Philadelphia Freedom, and everybody just started laughing and, you know, carrying on. I was just on the phone, you know. And
The songs that you sung internally came from an array of genres. Do you have a favorite genre? And if not a favorite, what's your top three?
I love all music. My dad was a gospel musician and a jazz lover, right? So he taught me how to appreciate all music. So for me, I don't really have a favorite, but if you're gonna make me pick three,
Give me the top three.
R&B, R&B and soul, you know, rap music, hip hop, and gospel.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Do you play an instrument other than your voice?
I do.
Ooh.
I played a bunch of instruments before I left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now I'm just getting back into it a little bit. So the drums, bongos, the piano, the organ, things like that. But it's been a minute, so I lost my touch a little bit. It's got to come back.
Yeah.
Everything's about repetition and time.
Yeah.
So right now, just right now I got a keyboard that I fiddle around with. Yeah, but you know, I write everything that y'all hear from me. I write from top to bottom. You know, everything comes in my head. Everything comes in my soul.
Because you have some current songs, right?
Yeah. And I just you know, write them from top to bottom. Every note you hear is me.
So what inspired you said?
You said is a song that I actually got when I was in prison, and then I kind of lost it, right? And it came back to me. I had a bunch of songs and the guards threw them away. Yeah, that's another story. But it came back to me, and then I was with my another talented musician and songwriter named Mateo. He co-wrote some of the music for You Said. He's an excellent musician. It's my musical brother. And what inspired the song is just, you know, the song is just talking about, you know, a breakup. You know, we all have a heartache that all of us done went through at some point in time. And that's what the song, you know, speaks to, you know, that love, that ache, that, you know, that you're hurting about. So that's what You Said is about.
Can you sing a little bit?
A little bit?
You gonna put
The song speaks to you know, heartache that you know, people go through, you know, women go through it, men go through it, and I just wanted to speak to that, and y'all can get that on
Can we hear a little live so we know it's not just some studio stuff? We play a little live.
studio stuff.
Yeah, we don't believe you. We can't believe what the media says. YouTube could be paid. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
That's funny.
Pressure.
Not
That's
And I'm a lady
Now y'all gotta
pressure.
take water.
Yeah, that's why you gotta get his throat right.
Ooh,
Take a little pressure, y'all.
Let's get this.
Y'all want,
Ooh, you want to
y'all want
do
You
it?
Said, and y'all want something else.
Give us what
Give
you
us
want.
whatever you wanna give us.
Don't
Whatever you wanna give us, you do it.
She's gonna have a special request.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because you like.
Well, how about this? Give a little bit of You Said, and then a little bit of what you wanna give.
All right. A melody. You want a melody?
I want whatever you giving up.
Look at this one.
She done turned up. Let me move back.
You see, it ain't even face it. It's no more selfie.
we got a song that we about to put out in the summertime at some point in time. So I might give y'all a little, just
Just give us a
It's a little
little.
taste, that's all we
taste of
like,
that,
a little taste.
All right, just a little smidget. This is a You. All right. This is You S. Cook in honor of my man Sam Cooke. You thrill me. You know me. You bless me. You hypnotize me. Here you go. That's you.
All right.
All right, now you
Already
gotta
here.
get a special request.
You want me to do a special
The
request?
special
Cause
request.
that was the original right there. She was about to like, she was about to get out the chair.
Get to the original request. Let me see. Let's see. You said. Hey, buzzer. You said.
I know it's in there.
You said you love me, honest and true. You said you love me, I'll be there for you. You said you love me. Here you go.
Okay, I'm excited.
All right.
Yay, Bob.
Nice, thank you. Thank
You
you so
are
much.
so talented and amazing.
My question for you is, when you came home, how long was it from the time that you got home, you got settled with your family, you went to the studio?
I think, remembering the time frame, my sister, I got some powerful women in back of me that I wanted, just let y'all know that everybody in back of me is powerful women, right? So one of my sisters, she's my childhood friend. She's amazing. Her name is Gwen Jackson. She's my everything. She's the COO of my companies and, all that kind of stuff. We went down South Philly. We snuck down South Philly about maybe a couple of weeks after I came home. We went to my man Shannon Key's studio down there. He does work with so many greats in the business, and we snuck down there to start messing around. And my childhood friend Sultan Bey, that wrote "We Fly High" for Jim Jones. We all was down there. We had a session down there, and we went in, and that was like the first time that we got the juices flowing back, right? So that was the first time.
How'd it feel?
It felt good, but I felt like a fish out of water at first, right? Just trying to get my bearings back and all like that. But they came back once we 30 minutes in. It was good.
I do have to ask this question because I noticed in here, I don't know, you say you don't believe everything that you read, but I do have to ask you, you did perform at Uptown.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I didn't do that by myself. That was my group Sensation. Mark, my man James New Smith, in back of me, Willis Murder, and Charles Thompson. We performed there, and that was amazing feeling.
I could just.
In the Uptown Theater, yes.
Yes, that was monumental for us. To know that we were
Part of
performing,
history.
in the same space that Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Diana Ross, one of my main influences, Gladys Knight, and the Pips that performed there, and so many other legendary acts, right? So when we was down in the small dressing rooms and all that kind of stuff, it was just, you know so-and-so, you know, so-and-so and all that. And we also performed there. We had our dancers, what is at that time, Kim, Phoenix, Latifah, we had a good time that night. We really had a good time performing at the Uptown, and we did our thing.
So in asking you about that, now coming back 2 years ago, just speaking on the fact, one, Uptown now is not open.
Mhm.
And it kind of like lays out how different the city is now
Right.
and the different changes and the things that have taken place since you've been gone. What, how can I say, what have you recognized and noticed outside of just your relationships and things like that, as far as the temperature of the city? Because the city is in total disarray right now, as far as I'm concerned with crime and everything. But what's some of the things that you noticed that's completely different since you have been home?
North Philly ain't North Philly no more. Regenification, right? It's a main thing going on in the city. North Philly is being brought up, and we being kicked out of North Philly. They're doing the same thing down West Philly. I went to see a famous producer that lives in Philadelphia that worked with Fleetwood Mac and Meghan Trainor 2 years ago. And we were talking about working together and so on and so forth. And I get out the car and they say we going to Northern Liberty or Northern Lights. So as I'm walking down the street, I'm in North Philly, what are you talking about? And it's these condominiums in this house, and when you go in, it's so spacious, and he's paying X, Y, and Z for it, and it was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? You know, so the same thing going on in Philadelphia is going on in New York, and now they busting everybody, or everybody's coming to LA, West Oak Lane, and the Northeast, and so on and so forth. So I get it. That's changed, you know what I mean? Everything from 27 years ago has literally changed. The only thing that hasn't changed is the decay in the city, right? For all of our people, that's the only thing that hasn't changed.
I read in the article, Christian Tabernacle Church. Have you
Yeah,
gone there?
No, I've been back to visit and see what it looked like now, because there's no one in there. They actually worshiping at another church, but
Okay.
yeah, me and my little brother, we went down there. We went to see the old stomping grounds. A lot of great people went to that church. A lot of great singers came out of that church. So yeah.
So moving forward, how has this impacted your view of life in a positive and in a negative way?
I don't trust nobody. I'm aware. I'm very aware of where I'm going. On my phone knows exactly where I'm at right now. The location and the time, because I put it on there. I have that GPS on me. So it knows where I'm at all times. I don't play that. Everybody around me will tell you, I don't go nowhere. I go see my mom, go see my daughter's studio, or a business meeting. I'm back in the house. That's changed. I'm scared of my own shadow, all that kind of stuff that you can imagine. So my view on life is different. If you would have met me 27 years ago, you'd be like, he's happy-go-lucky. Don't nothing faze him. Now I'm aware of everything that's going on in the world, and that there's so much evil out here, you know. And I suffer from PTSD. Panic and anxiety attacks, because no one comes through the prison system unscathed. No one, right? So.
My question, go ahead.
All right, with suffering from the PTSD, reading, they said that you were in a relationship now, and you referred to the young lady as Queen. How has that affected your relationship? Like, was she someone from the past that already knew you,
Mhm.
or was she new?
No, that's actually my childhood sweetheart.
Okay,
Yeah, it's my
And-
childhood sweetheart.
so that was like a comfort zone to some degree without you having to explain. If it was someone new, to expose your story to somebody who had been like completely foreign to it.
I think on so many levels, it'd be difficult for me to
Meet someone new.
meet someone new,
Bring
you know,
someone
maybe
new
on,
in.
Especially with the trust
yeah, you
issues,
know,
too.
with trust issues I have, but at the same time, you know, she's an amazing woman. It's my childhood sweetheart. She rode with me the entire time. You know, I was in there, and she does uh, an amazing job dealing with everything that I go through. And it always takes you, look, it don't matter what man you see, whether they say it or not. If you ain't got a strong black woman in back of you, you ain't making it, you know, and that's the truth, you know, and that's what all y'all are. So for me, she's amazing at everything she does for me in dealing with it. And it's not easy. It's very difficult. Even last night, I have no problem. You have to understand, PTSD is a serious issue.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have nightmares, at least about 5 nightmares every night about the trial, about what I went through in prison. And last night was one of those nights, you know, and I didn't even know I had my eyes open. And she had to, you know, she woke me up. But I remember what I was dreaming, you know what I mean, you know, about. And there's many nights like that, you know, there's more of those than good nights. And that's just the truth of the matter. And that's what the prosecutor and these police officers did to me, right? And so it was the same thing in prison. And I actually thought, or I hoped that a lot of that stuff was going to go away at some point, but it hasn't. And even though I'm in therapy, you still deal with these issues, and you know the medication doesn't stop this stuff. It just helps to lessen it just a bit. Know what I mean? But not much. You know what I mean? So.
One of the things that you just mentioned, I just want to take back for a minute because it's very significant. Because you said on your cell phone, you have the GPS on all the time.
All the time.
Some people don't understand that, and I'm thinking, and I may be assuming, but I'm thinking one of the reasons that you want to have that GPS on all the time, so people know exactly where you are.
Yes.
You're wherever.
It's tracked.
So you can't be
It's
falsely
tracked.
accused of
Right.
anything.
Right, it's for his protection.
And also,
protection.
also whenever I travel, any hotel or wherever I go, even in the city, you know, many people attest to it. If it ain't got cameras all around, I'm not going. Even with this, I'm not going.
And you know, and the thing about it is, on the flip side, so many people want to turn their phones on.
They
don't want to be
don't have my
on.
location because I
They
don't
don't
want
do
you
none
to
of that.
find me, but
But
You can find
this
me.
is.
But I mean, I
But
totally
this is a
get
good
it, and that's why I took, you know, I took it back just for a moment because that's very significant.
It is.
Because so many people say, I don't want people to track me.
No.
But in your instance,
Yeah.
I want y'all to know.
Right. But it honestly, it could save your life in that type of situation, or even a different type. You kidnapped, whatever. Keep
Right.
your location on.
Right.
I
Stop
have a
keeping
question.
secrets.
The family of the young lady that was murdered, they were at trial, correct?
Yes.
And I'm quite sure their whole emotional state was, how could you do this to my daughter, you know, so forth. Have there been any kind of interaction since you've been proven to be innocent from it with them, whether it be them? I know you said you weren't expecting an apology from anyone, but did they ever say, you know, anything? If you can talk about it.
No. But recently I did a radio show on WURD, Solomon Jones,
Mhm.
and one of the family members, they called in and said he was happy I was home.
Oh,
So there's that.
really believe in you.
And so, my heart and my continued prayers go out to the family, because what you have there is not just about my family, it's about their family too.
Mhm.
Two families was destroyed and shattered because the police did not do their job, right? Period.
Have they ever
Can they
found the
report the
person?
real person?
I know, I did read an article about them saying that they had a conversation and the person admitted that they accidentally did it. It wasn't supposed to go that way, but it happened that way. But did they ever actually get that person?
No.
So he's still free?
Yeah.
I mean, if they still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be.
Question. I watched the video. All
Which
three of
video?
them.
Oh, okay.
And I tagged you in, them, so you know I watched them.
I don't be on the internet that lot, except for saying happy birthday to people and liking stuff.
Okay. In your video, you was doing a narration in all of those videos, or somebody was talking while you was telling your story.
Mhm.
The young lady is now your wife.
Mhm.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Was that the question?
The reason why I said that is because girlfriend was mentioned.
And-
That's his wife.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they, you referred to as queen, correct?
Yeah. I call her queen.
Congratulations.
Mhm.
Yes,
So-
congratulations.
Since you have been married and it's new, and you have this new relationship with this queen of yours, how has life been going with you being in the studio, adjusting to life out here? How is it in your heart?
Do you feel safe?
No, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. Mark will tell you, I mean, anytime we see police, yo, man, time.
No, not safe from it, but safe in that comfort. You know how your home is supposed to be your safe haven. And every day you go out in the street, you deal with that
No,
stuff
I don't
out in
have
the
that.
street. But when you come home, you can literally exhale and say, you know what? I know I'm safe. I know I have my family. I know I have my wife. I know I have my friends. Do you feel that at all in any, even if it's a small aspect?
I don't feel any sense of comfort or safety at this point. And the reason why is if I hear a police siren or I see sirens or I hear them or whatever, I think that they coming to steal my life away again. It just happens. It's anything can trigger a different mood in me. Is there happiness when I talk to my childhood friends? I feel good when I talk to my childhood friends. I feel good when I talk to my little brother Mark. Am I happy in my household? Yes, but outside of that, right, those are moments that are very flickering, right? They're very passing, right? And in the sum of a day, everything that I done been through plays in my head like a bad scene in a bad movie.
Is your therapy helping with that? Because you are suffering from PTSD?
Therapy has been a 2.5-year process. And
It's a journey. It's a journey.
It's therapy, yeah.
Okay.
It's therapy. That's about the best I can say about that.
I have a couple of questions. So even though you were being set free, according to Rolling Stone, I want to say it's fact, they said you had to plead to the lesser charges. Now, how did that make you feel having to plead to lesser charges, which still implicated you to crimes that you really didn't commit?
Well, I guess you gotta look at it this way.
Mhm.
I guess everything is a context, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm the first person in this country to have a legal opinion exonerate them, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is it, right here. So this first paragraph mean everything to me, right? And you see what it say. Say James A. Dennis was wrongfully convicted for a crime in all probability he did not commit, right?
Mhm.
Then I got the second legal opinion that exonerates me. So, one of the most difficult decisions I had to make is my mom being sick. My mom Ellen, and not knowing how much time that I would have with her after the fact that I lost my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, what happened to me is very different because it doesn't. A lot of times things aren't articulated the way that they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go back and you look at the hearing that happened, my innocence was read into the record.
Mm-hmm.
The judge acknowledged my innocence. And then when they asked me to say anything, all I said was I wanted the nightmare to end so I could get home with my mother before I, didn't have any more time with her or my, youngest daughter who I never literally spent the day with. That was the most agonizing decision I had to make,
Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, you know what I mean? Now, you have to understand that if you have to look at the climate in the country, and the climate in the country played a part, right? So the election is going on, all right? And this is why voting is important. The election is going on, all right? The election is going on in the country, right? So the DA has no intention of appealing, right?
Mhm.
After Hillary Clinton didn't win, they wanted to appeal. Why did they want to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court? They wanted to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court because the U.S. Supreme Court doesn't care about innocent people. It's about whether your constitutional rights been violated. But the U.S. Supreme Court has already said many, many years ago that it's okay to execute an innocent person as long as they feel as though that they had a fair trial. Now, if you understand politics, right, the president of the United States appoints federal judges to the court, okay? So if Hillary Clinton would have won, the court would have been more liberal. They're not going to the U.S. Supreme Court, but now it's more conservative, right? Innocent period, and I've seen other innocent people that I believe that was innocent in other states get killed, right? That went to the U.S. Supreme Court and didn't get a reprieve. Troy Davis being one of them in Atlanta. He had worldwide support in his country from celebrities like Outkast and everybody else. He was down in Atlanta, Georgia, and they killed him for something he didn't do, right? So if I don't do what I did, I'm not sitting here having this conversation with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. I'm dead, period. We're not having this conversation. And the only time y'all will hear about me is from Mark Allen. That's it.
Wow, because it comes to a point where it's like it's not a barter thing of what they can't do because they don't do it.
Yeah, they already did it already.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to weigh things and put them in their proper context. So
If it was something,
Before we get into any more questions, right? We are going to just take a short break and then we're gonna come back in and jump right back into this conversation, okay? So y'all are
I'll ask
listening
them later.
to
I got your question, I'll answer.
Sador Radio, right? And you are listening to our conversation that we are having today with Mr. Jimmy Dennis, who has been wrongfully convicted, and he is now telling us and you guys his story and how he feels and what's with him now. So we're gonna let y'all listen to a little bit of some music, and we're gonna come back on the flip side and jump right back into this conversation.
All right, my question, just to make sure we're on the same page as far as the question, would be to the listeners and the viewers, if it was something that you had to say based upon what you see is going on in our streets, in our city, in our country pretty much,
Anybody still up?
what would it be? And that you're saying it from two different perspectives. That's what my question is. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
We're gonna get with all those type questions when we come back. And then I wanna go into what's happening now. As far as like, what's the future game? You know, what's going on as far as music, as
That was
far
my
as
question.